If you are struggling with addiction to pornography, there's just one simple question you need to ask yourself. Would you rather have porn or other people? Now, for most of us, other people is a family, whether it's the family you were born with or the family you've made. But that might just be your girlfriend or significant other, the person that you want to be with in the future. So even if you're single and alone, there's the potential of being with other people that you don't want to destroy. And so just really think about it. If you could only have one, and to be honest with you, you can only have one. But think of it from that perspective. If you can only have one, would you rather be alone, but with porn? Or would you rather have the company of other people? So hey everybody, it's Spopes. I am here at this beautiful strip mall, this wet fall evening here in North Idaho. And this is the general theme of what I want to talk to you in the video, is how ultimately pornography and interpersonal relationships are incompatible, that you have to choose one. So which one would you choose? This is, I feel like, the most ironclad and useful argument you can fall back on in times of temptation. It can be hard sometimes, especially as someone who's been addicted for years or decades, to resist temptation. But let's just break it down from the base upward. So I say that pornography is incompatible with interpersonal relationships. There are some very limited exceptions to this, like when there is informed consent to use of pornography within the marriage. I mean real consent, not just the woman giving up and being like, well, okay, I guess I just have to accept it. I mean both parties being utterly perverted weirdos and just being into it. Like if both of you are that messed up, you probably belong together, first of all. But generally, yeah, so the issue here with lust from a Christian perspective is that other people are image bearers, and you reduce the sacredness of the God within them when you use that image for sexual gratification. And the line blurs a little bit with drawn images or images that aren't real people, but not so much, because then that leads to you sullying the image of God within other people. And it can lead to a lot worse depending on the type of drawn image. So just generally, especially if you're married, again, from a Christian perspective, this is a pretty common secular perspective as well. If you're married, you've made a covenant. You've at least made a contract, whether it's a covenant before God, in your opinion, because you're Christian, or there's just a contract with your partner from a secular perspective. You've made some kind of a contract or a covenant, and using pornography secretly is definitely breaking that contract or covenant. And then as a single person, you want to make it so that you're able to have that kind of contract or covenant eventually. And in either case, whether you're ever planning to have a relationship or not, there's just something wrong about engaging in lust, in giving into that sin, that desire. But you also are trying to make yourself ready to be with other people. And so just why is it the case that there's no compatibility between these things. Why can't you have both? Well, look at it from all the different perspectives that there are, where say that there's some semblance of informed consent, right? Most of the time that's not going to be the case between a couple. It's going to be, maybe you want that to be the case, maybe both of you do. Maybe you can't overcome your addiction, or you think you can't, and your partner just wants to support you no matter what. But that is placing strain on the relationship. And then otherwise, I mean, you're lying. You're hiding what you're doing, you're covering it up, and the lie will eventually come out. Hopefully, right? You know, the longer it stays, the more cursed you are. So hopefully the lie will out itself eventually, and sooner rather than later would be the hope there. So you really can't have both. You can keep lying for as long as you can. You can try to gin up some approximation of consent with your partner, but eventually both of those things will come crashing down. Because somewhere deep down, whether you're Christian or not, you know that it's not right. You know that adultery and lust are not right, deep in your soul. And so then you do have to choose one. You can't have both. And so think about it. Being left to just do whatever you want, but being fully alone. You know, you can do all the things that you wouldn't be able to do in your relationship, but you've been alone. Man, at multiple points in my life, I have made that gamble. I've decided, well, I want to sin so bad that we'll just see what happens, right? I'm surely fine being completely alone. But other people, they have God's image in them. And so when you're connected with others, you're not just connected with other people, you're connected with God. And breaking that connection puts you in a state of spiritual damnation, where I'm not just saying like that's a black spot on your record. I'm saying you feel it. You experience that in your emotions, in your psychological state. You feel broken and disconnected. But sin, the devil will just get in your ear and tell you this is what you're going to do. Now, the other option is stopping doing what you think you want to do for the sake of what you actually want to do. All of us want love and connection. We want innocence. We want to go back to Eden, so to speak. But the only way you can do that is by confessing your sin, renouncing it, and never going back. And there is some degree of a secular version of this as well. You know, therapy, making amends in kind of the more general sense. This is, for the most part, a very Christian experience, even in the secular world, because the secular world, at least in Western societies, was built off of Christian ethics and culture over the last 2 millennia. So you do have to go through the horrifying storm with all of its wreckage and pain of admitting what you've done, confessing, making amends, but then you're washed clean and returned to a state of innocence where you can have what matters. Where if you're a married man with children, you can, whatever your kids and wife think of you, you can be in their presence, or simply thinking about them if you've been completely booted out of the house. You can hold them in your hearts without deception or sin. But God will also see your turning away from sin, and He will meet you halfway and begin the process of rewarding you for turning away from the devil and making the choice to do things the way that he intended them to be. I'm reading Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis right now. I'm starting to understand better how it is that, there can be sin in the world, even though God designed it, and he's willing us away from sin. I'll get more into that at some point, but the point is we do have free will. We have the choice to make the wrong choice. We have the option to make the wrong choice. But in the end, it all just boils down to this. You can't have both. There may be some really, really rare circumstances where you can have both, but honestly, a relationship where both partners consent to porn, I mean, that just sounds like hell. It just sounds like I don't understand you could actually have any real intimacy. Like there's something kind of subhuman about that kind of interaction. I don't know if I'd be able to respect that as a real relationship or not. But that is the only alternative to this I can see. Not being single, because lusting is still wrong. And you want to make it possible to not be an adulterer. It's pretty difficult and rare to just be like, oh, here I am, I've been just jacking it to porn for however long, but now I'm going to be perfect and good just because I found the right person. Now, you want to prepare for that. But for most of us, we're already going to be in a situation where we have a partner or we have kids with that person. And at that point, it becomes just clearer and clearer. You can't have both. You just can't. Again, there may be some very limited exceptions, but for 99.9% of people out there, whether you're single, in a relationship, married, have children, you can't have both. And so you have to choose one. The lonely gooner sitting in your cave, encrusted, self-hating, alone, feeling alone, or someone who doesn't get to do exactly what you might feel like doing at every single moment, but you're surrounded by love, the love of your family, God's love. The answer is pretty clear, even though the devil can sometimes make it hard to see. The answer, obviously, is not being a lonely gooner disconnected from God and everything else. If you hadn't gotten that point yet, the answer is foregoing sin, getting rid of it, renouncing it, confessing it, kicking it to the fucking curb, and then living the rest of your life in a free and clean way. And I really feel like this particular argument is incredibly useful when you're feeling temptation. Well, yeah, God gave me free will, I could do this, but the result is ultimately being completely alone. Do I want that? Or do I want to renounce sin and live in connection with others and with God? So for me, I think it's a pretty obvious answer right there. Let me know what you guys think, whether you disagree about porn and relationships being incompatible, whether you're one of those weird couples where it's okay, and I will totally roast you and tell you how it's wrong. Maybe you can convince me, but I don't think so. And for those who haven't, I really appreciate a like and a subscribe. There will be a video in the corner popping up in a second if you can't wait for more content. But I just want to pray for anybody who is struggling with temptation of adultery or lust. Lord, be with them, give them strength, help them see with your clarity of mind what is needed to be done in their lives to renounce sin, repent, confess, show them in no uncertain terms what will happen if they decide to follow sin instead of your way. And Lord, just reveal all your mysteries in the hearts of those who seek. Guide them to your path with your will. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back with a new video soon. Click the video in the corner if you can't wait. God bless you. See you later.